we're back. This is Matt.
This is Katie, and this is Movies and Mischief with Matt-n-Katy. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. We love having you. Katie and I are a married couple who love watching movies, and we love talking about the movies we watch, and that's exactly what we do on this channel. We sit down, we watch a movie, and then we turn right around and give you our unprepared, unfiltered opinion of said flick. If you're one of our regular viewers, welcome back. We truly appreciate all the support, especially for some of our new subscribers that have been popping up over the last couple weeks. We really appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. So, Katie, do you want to tell everybody about the movie we watched today?
Our latest adventure is called Censor. It's a movie from this year. It stars Niamh Algar, who is an Irish actress we first discovered in a movie we watched a couple months ago. And pretty much nobody else I've ever heard of. She plays this movie is set in the UK in probably 1982, 83-ish.
80s, yeah.
They don't really say. She plays a censor, who works for basically our version of the MPAA, where she kind of goes through all these awful movies and either rejects the movie outright or tells them what cuts they need to make for them to be able to release the movie. And when she was a little girl, her sister went missing, and she's been kind of dealing with that forever. And she runs across a movie that makes her think that situation didn't get resolved the way everybody else thinks it did. So that's all. What did you think about this movie?
I love this movie. I thought this was a really good movie. Not what I was expecting, but definitely within my wheelhouse. It's a very artsy kind of horror film. There's this new genre, art house horror, that is cropping up that's not for everybody. I particularly enjoyed the tone of this movie. I like movies that kind of make you question whether or not our lead character is seeing what's really there or if it's all in their head. I love that when it's done right, and I think this movie did it right. This is really, really good. Really good. I don't know what made me more uncomfortable, the fact that I wanted her job or the fact that my wife was quick to tell the character not to throw up during a very critical scene because of the possibility of DNA. The first thing she said is, "Oh, don't throw up, but get the DNA." And I was like, it's kind of creepy that my wife would go to that first.
It's okay, they weren't really doing it.
They didn't have DNA in the 80s. But it's really good. I think that this is a movie that would be more enjoyed by diehard horror fans like myself, because it does, I think, tick off some of the nostalgia of horror in the 80s. But I think that a movie, I'm very curious to see what you thought about it, because I think that a person who's not really into horror probably would not enjoy this movie as much as someone like me did. What did you think, Katie?
I think you're right that this movie is not for a lot of people. I am one of those people.
Told you. Do I know my wife or do I know my wife?
I hated this movie.
You hated it?
I was bored almost half to death with this movie. There were things that I thought were just lazy. When it starts out, she's got her little bun and her big glasses on a chain like she's 70, very buttoned up, and throughout the thing, her hair just starts getting a little more falling down. Now she's still perfectly buttoned up outfit, just her hair's falling apart, and when people see her, they're like, "Enid, are you okay?" Because, it's just ridiculous stuff like that. There were some clever fade in and out using a reference that people of a certain age aren't going to understand at all. But kids, once upon a time, broadcast TV only went to a certain time of the day, and then your screen did fuzzy stuff, and that's all you got for several hours until like 6 the next morning. So they used that kind of snow screen thing to fade in and out. Those kind of things were kind of clever, but there were just... her sister goes missing when the sister is 7. She looked like she was maybe 9 or 10. And yet, you have this horrible thing happens, her sister disappears in the middle of the woods. And they don't know what happened to her. But Enid works late every night. Enid goes down the most ridiculously dark tunnels. We don't know why. Is she going to a subway? We never see that. Once she's on the subway system. She's constantly going places in the middle of the night all by herself. Nobody knows where she's going. Nobody knows she's there. She keeps putting herself in these dangerous situations for no reason. There are several characters in this that are just creepy and weird, and she keeps putting herself alone with these people. It felt like an 80s movie to me, and not in a great way. It felt like it was filmed in a way that made it look like it was an old movie like that, like a 70s, 80s kind of movie, that very almost grainy sort of thing.
Very dark.
Very dark. A lot of it was just...
Everything's muted, shadowy.
A lot of just looks and a couple jump scares that didn't make me jump. I don't know. I did not like it at all. And I love Niamh Algar. I think she's great, but
I'm kind of a talent crush on her. She's very talented.
She is talented and she's lovely, but this just felt like a waste. This was one of those that if I was that kind of person, I would have been checking my watch the entire time. Hated it. Hated it.
Loved it.
The controversy. Welcome to the channel.
Well, that's because I wasn't a big fan of the last one we watched and you loved it. Now you're not a big fan of this one and I loved it.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me that you like this more because you do like a lot of... This is probably the #1 fan of the Evil Dead original, which I think is one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen. Not scary at all.
There was
Total
a little bit
cheese.
of a wink and a nod to that. Did you pick it up?
I saw it. Yeah. It had a lot of those elements that I know you do appreciate in these kind of movies, and they just frustrate me. So it doesn't surprise me that you.
I got a kick out of it, and I think you just helped to prove my point that a certain type of person is going to love this movie, and then other people are going to hate this movie.
And I don't have a problem with horror movies when it's done well. I love a good horror movie. Love them. There's just a lot of these older ones that just kind of feel like, and I think this is one of those where it feels like the story falls apart really early. There are a lot of contradictions that just feel like if you were in this situation, this is not what you would do. And it felt like they didn't know what they were doing. It felt like one of those where, the ending was okay for what they were trying to do. I think the ending was a good choice, but overall the story just didn't meld for me.
I think that kind of disjointed, choppy feel you're describing was intentional.
It wasn't that. It was the story itself.
That's what I'm saying. Because she was not all there.
No, I get that.
I think it was very obvious that whatever this trauma was of losing her sister as a kid had a lasting effect. And I think that's why she was in the position, the job she was in. And I think that made sense. And the whole thing with her hair, I think, because another thing they did that I thought was interesting is towards the end when she starts to go down this rabbit hole, it changes from a widescreen film format to a 4:3.
I never noticed that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it changed to a 4:3 format.
Never noticed.
So you're suddenly seeing this like what she watches every day in these movies. So I completely understand why you didn't like it, and I get that. And I think it just proves my point that this is a movie for a certain group of people. And if you're not... You're either going to really enjoy this movie or it's really going to drive you nuts and you're going to hate it or annoyed by it. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Do you have any final thoughts on this one?
My final thoughts are get help. If you there is no shame in getting help for trauma. Whether other people think that what you have gone through is trauma or not, whether they think you've had enough time to deal with it or not, it doesn't matter what other people think. Get help when you need it. How about you?
I just you know, movies don't make you do anything.
Yeah.
That's a big theme throughout this film.
It is.
And if you're a avid member of the horror community like I am, you are well aware of the video nasties, and that's the time period this movie takes place. And it just always frustrates me when I think about that era, and even some of the stuff I had to go through with my parents.
Well, it's still happening now.
It's still happening now.
I'm totally with you on that.
You know, it's just a movie. If there's something wrong with the person to begin with, well, I don't want to say there's something wrong with them, but if they have issues, mental issues to begin with, yeah, I fully agree that there's certain movies that might trigger something in them.
Stop blaming books and movies and video games and music for when somebody does something heinous. They didn't cause it. There was already something broken.
There was already something broken.
I'm totally with you on that.
Other than that, I would just say give this movie a chance, especially if you're a diehard horror fan. I would tell you, give this movie a chance. It's gotten a lot of buzz deep within the horror community, but I think for those people that are just kind of treading the surface of horror, they probably haven't heard of this one.
If you're a fan of movies like The Conjuring and Insidious and more modern takes on this, you are probably not going to like this movie. It is a totally different vibe.
This is a very cerebral kind of horror movie.
And it's not at all polished.
No, it's not. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's not polished.
Well, to me, this is part of the. I think this is my main thing. I know we've gone way past final thoughts, but it's not the unpolished look of it. But it's the kind of lack of realism to me, and I think modern horror movies have come a long way in letting characters have genuine reactions to things, and I think that's a lot of my problem with older movies, that I feel like people just have these where
you keep saying older movie.
Well, I know this is a new movie. I know this is a new movie, but it has that older movie feel. It has that 80s movie feel, and that's one of the things that I always had a problem with in those movies, that I never felt like people had genuine reactions to things that were happening. They just kind of let them go, and that's.
But again, I think that was intentional. No, I think that was. I think that was all intentional, because this is a woman who's obviously got something ticking off in her brain, and she spends her entire day watching movies that everybody says are too disturbing, too violent for public viewing.
Right.
So I think when you have that kind of trauma and you don't talk to someone, you don't get help for it.
Yeah, no.
You sit and watch movies about rape and murder and decapitations and all that day after day, it's going to screw with your brain for a bit. So I think, I see what you're saying, but I think it was intentional.
I see what you're saying.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, Censor, I really enjoyed it. Katie hated it. It's currently for rental on Amazon Prime. I would imagine this would show up on streaming event soon. I think it's been on there for a while.
On Shudder or
yeah. So that's it. That's all we have for you for this particular video. Please remember to like the video, share the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel, please.
Let us know what else you would like us to watch. Please don't make me watch a movie like this again.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Here.
And I'll watch it.
And I watch a lot of stuff that she really wants to watch. So anyways, we are
let us know.
We are a very fair and well divided group of movie watchers. So there you go, guys. We're going to let you go. Thanks for hanging around. We know this one took a little bit longer than normal, but we will see you guys next time. Bye.